Welcome back to Part Tea with Becky and Kenzie. I'm not drinking tea today. I have some watermelon that I juiced yesterday, and that goes perfectly with our topic of summer wellness and beauty. Again, to start, extra hydration, any foods, waters, to add extra hydration to your diet in the summer is huge. So that's why I am drinking my watermelon juice today. I think Becky, you have water in your cup, right? So it's too
Yeah,
hot
I'm
for
drinking
tea.
water. It's too
Yeah.
hot. And I didn't have enough time to make like an iced tea.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
just like, I need water.
yeah, it's way too hot, especially today in Long Island. It says it's supposed to feel like 103 today. So
This
let's
heat wave.
definitely hydrate, stay cool. So other than watermelon, some other hydrating fruits and vegetables are cucumber, berries are in season as well. What else did you have on your list, Becky, for fruits and veggies that were
Let's
in
see.
season?
I have cucumber, watermelon, peaches, cherries. Eat what's in season,
Yeah.
especially if you're close to any farmers markets or local farms. I love this time of year. I kind of go basically, I just eat fruits and vegetables as meals this time of year.
Yeah.
And that might be a little bit too much for my stomach, like, because it's like too much, like fiber and too much. But I'm like, I don't care. The stomach ache is worth it. I love
Yeah.
all this like fruits and vegetables because when it's so hot, especially like today, I can't eat like
Heavy
heavy
meals. Yeah.
like meats and or like I'll eat a lot of salads.
Yeah.
Um,
Lighter foods, yeah, are definitely the way to go in the summer.
Yeah, so that's what I like to do.
So specifically water, I want to just talk about for a little bit. Um, there's obviously water is good for you. You need to hydrate, but there's also a specific pH of water that is optimal for your health as well. So that's something I've newly gotten into. Actually, my brother introduced me to higher pH water. So it's an alkaline based water. Um, And if you do like the iodine test or whatever test it is to test the different brands of water bottles, you'll actually see that a lot of the water bottles that we drink are very acidic. So like Poland Spring, Nestle, so that is keeping your body at an acidic state rather than an alkaline state. And when you're in an alkaline state, again, it's just a higher pH, of a more basic pH, like a 9.5 or an 8.5, whatever. Anything above a 7 is really much better for you. So your body actually heals better in an alkaline state. It absorbs nutrients better. Not saying stop drinking water because you drink Poland Spring. Still drink the water wherever you can get it from, but try to be conscious of the pH of your water that you're drinking because that has a lot to do with the healing properties of the water that you're drinking. So I know in Long Island there's a place called Fountain. It's a pH fountain, and you can actually go and fill up your jugs with alkaline water. They have these fountains there. So I don't know if they have any of that, where you are, or if you go to the stores, try to find, the water bottles that have a higher pH, like an Essentia, a Life Water, things like that. So
I
it's
think,
definitely something not a lot of people think about.
yeah, that's actually, I didn't know that. What it is, because we have the Brita filter.
So
Is
it's
that,
definitely good to have a filter as well because that gets out like the toxins, the metals, like and everything that's in your tap water and stuff. But it could still not be at an alkaline pH. You could test it with like pH
oh, the
strips.
strip?
Yeah, but it's not the end of the world if you're not drinking alkaline water. You still want hydration and clean water. But if you can be conscious of it, it does help promote more healing and optimal health and absorbs nutrients a lot
I
better.
have I have a quick fix for that too. If you can't find alkaline water, so lemon. People
Mm,
think that lemons are acidic, but lemons are actually more alkaline.
wow.
So when they say like, put squeeze a lemon in your water, maybe
Yeah.
that's like, I'm like, ooh, I just had like a moment of like, maybe
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons, like it's good for your liver, but
Mhm.
it can also balance, if you don't have access to, because
Right.
I drink a lot of water, so I'm like, I would need like like a
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, well,
Like I
so
would need
that's the thing. We ended up actually buying the system at that place fountain that we have the same system that they have, and we attached it to our faucet in our house. So now we have just endless amounts of alkaline water coming out of our faucet.
I
So
have to talk to you about that.
yeah, it's definitely pricey. But to me, it's an investment into your health, and I think it's worth it if that's, the lifestyle that you are trying to go by. So
It hooks up to
definitely,
like the sink.
yep, it hooks up right to your sink, and then it has its own type of filter that comes out,
Just
and
drink it right out of the tap.
you can get right out of there. Yep. And it does come depending on the weather outside. If the pipes are cold, it'll come out cold. If it's warm, it'll come out warm. But you could stick an ice cube
Okay.
in it. Ice. It's if your ice is not alkaline, it's not going to change the whole pH of the water. The pH of the water will overtake the one ice cube that you put in there. So
Okay.
it's definitely just something to be conscious of and start thinking about, especially if you're on this wellness journey.
I like that. That sounds good. Yeah, because this time of year, well, and so with like staying hydrated, oh, and there's also with water. So what we do, like if we're outside for long periods of time, if we're doing yard work,
Yeah.
especially on a day like today, even if I'm not like, we're not going outside today because it's way too hot. I don't know about you, but I still feel the effects
Hmm.
of like I'm outside inside
Yeah.
when it's this hot. So we always have the noon hydration tabs. My
Mm.
favorite flavor is the tropical.
Mm.
But my husband, he's a brand ambassador, so he has like all his flavors, and I'm like, just tropical noon, please. Because that one is just like, I love that one. If the water, they taste better cold, but that one I can drink if the
If
water
it's
is not cold.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And then also extra hydration is juicing, which we always talk about juicing. Like I said, I have my watermelon juice here. But that's always something that you can do as well for some extra hydration. If you really don't like eating a lot of greens and vegetables, sometimes just putting it into a juice and chugging that down is also giving you that nutrients and hydration as well.
Oh, and smoothies. I'm doing a lot of smoothies now, like
Yeah, me
frozen
too.
fruits.
Hmm.
Um, I one of my friends, because every time I would make smoothies, and I'm like, why is this like? It would be like all stuck together or too
Hmm.
watery. So she would do orange juice, like I don't know if she'd had milk. I think it's just orange juice, maybe like a little bit of yogurt. Um,
Hmm.
oh, and she said don't, because I was adding ice. And so
Hmm.
everything was just like clumping together. So she was using the frozen fruit as like the ice. So
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, so I took the ice out and I was like, oh, now everything is like blending.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do that too. I usually do a berry mix. I do like
Okay.
blueberries, strawberries. Sometimes I'll throw in some banana. And then sometimes I just do water depending if I don't want it that heavy, but I will sometimes add like a splash of oat or almond milk if I want it like a little bit creamier
Yeah.
or something.
I started
But it depends.
I started going on like a peach kick. So like
Mhm.
there's
I
like
love
frozen
peaches.
peaches. I found frozen dragon fruit at
Ooh,
Target. And
that's cool.
I think I was doing like frozen avocado. I found frozen avocado,
Oh, that's
dragon
so awesome.
fruit, peach. And then there's these let me show you because I have one in the fridge. So this is really good that I add into my smoothies. You could do probably like half. It depends. Usually like when I make smoothies, I it's a lot and then I have like extra for
Yeah.
Derek, even Violet, she can have some. And this only has, it says it's a total of 5 grams of sugar. So like yogurts can tend to have like a lot of sugar. Um, and this has 18 grams of protein.
Nice.
And it
Yeah.
says it's pre and probiotic and it's a drinkable yogurt. So something like this,
Yeah.
texture wise, I don't like yogurt. I need to mix it in
Yeah,
something.
that's how I am too. When
Yeah.
when I was eating, because like now I don't have usually dairy, but when I was using yogurt in my smoothies, I would use the kefir, which is
Oh
also
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a high probiotic, prebiotic.
Hmm.
I don't know which one.
Violet, I
Yeah.
had to when we switched her to whole milk,
Mhm.
um, she had a little bit of trouble digesting it
Mhm.
with some constipation. So the pediatrician said that probiotics,
Mhm.
and I tried the plain one, and it's very tart.
Very, Yeah.
So at first I mixed it with like some fruit, like a few
Mhm.
fruit puree. But
Yeah.
then I'm like, let me see, let me try, let me see if she likes this. And she was just eating it plain. She's
Wow.
so
Yeah.
like getting her taste buds all like,
Yeah, juices and smoothies are a great way to kind of like add back in that extra hydration and nutrients into your diet, especially in the summertime. You definitely want to stay away from warming spices like cinnamons, black pepper, and Becky's going to go over some more cooling spices that you can probably use for the summertime.
mm, yeah, so cooling herbs, especially for tea, you can make them into iced tea. Some of my favorites are hibiscus, lavender, mint, and rose. I love rose spritzers. So it's food grade. I always want to make sure it's food grade,
Yeah.
organic rose water, just because there's a lot of pesticides that they spray, especially with roses. A little bit of that with some seltzer, but it's very floral. So if you put too much, it's going to taste like you're drinking the potpourri from the bathroom. So you can add a little bit of lemon. Rose and lemon go really well together, and it kind of balances out that really floral taste. Also, lavender. If I go somewhere and they have like lavender lemonade, I'm like, I
Mm.
need this.
Yeah.
Or I think basil too is really good this time of year.
Mm.
Basically with like the herbs, like when you think of like your garden, what's in season. So, basil's in season.
I like to do strawberries and mint. I'm actually growing
Yeah, yeah.
strawberries for the first time in my garden this year. I had
Oh,
my first one pop up the other day and it was so sweet and delicious.
I love strawberries. We missed strawberry picking this year,
Yeah,
schedule wise, but I love all fruits. I'm like not picky when it even
me
but yeah, dragon fruit. I'm seeing a lot of dragon fruit like this
too.
um for me, like it's just like popping up kind of everywhere, and I'm like,
Mhm.
that's it's weird how not weird, but like the spiritual woo side of me where like when we talk about plant allies or
Yeah.
like even with foods, like, using your kind of like intuition or what I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
my body's craving peaches, my body's craving dragon fruit, and then I know dragon fruit is high in antioxidants and I think it protects from like free radicals and stuff like that.
Mm.
But sometimes Googling like what are the nutritional benefits of these foods, and then I can kind of see like, oh, my body may be
It's
craving
craving.
this because of this vitamin or this something like that. Um, so yeah, lots of good food this time of year. I know like winter, I get like where I'm just like everything is dead. Like
Yeah.
or just like I'm just like what other frozen vegetable can I eat, that time of year. But summertime, even it's a great time to maybe buy some of this stuff in bulk, or if you have a garden,
Mhm.
if you know how to can things, or if you know how
Yeah.
to, well, not if you know how to, but like freezing. So like sometimes I'll, wash, cut up, I'll wash and prep whatever fruit or vegetable and then freeze it. This way
Yeah.
I can have a little bit of summer in the winter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of uplifting too
Mhm.
in that time.
Yeah, and it stays much longer. A lot of times with fresh produce and especially organic produce, if you don't eat it in the first couple of days, it goes bad, unfortunately, because there isn't those pesticides keeping it
Yeah.
perfect and all of that. So definitely freezing is a great tool to use when you can.
Do you have any more on the wellness side of this?
So as far as foods and stuff, I feel like that's like the basics that we went over, extra hydration, cooling herbs. The only other thing I had was just, obviously getting outside now that it's warmer out is important to get vitamin D, but in a safe way. Because the sun is very strong, but we still need that vitamin D and that feel good, chemicals that get released from the sun. So reducing your screen time and getting away from this artificial, emissions and getting out into the natural vitamin D is definitely a plus, but you have to do it safely, obviously. So sunscreens we talk about all the time, try to make sure they're non-toxic and they're not just adding more chemicals and probably hurting you more than the sun is. But if you are going to use sunscreen, make sure it's non-toxic and there's nothing in it that's going to harm you more than what the sun will do to you. Other than that, natural sunscreen is just eating those fruits and vegetables that we said, so dark leafy greens, eating things to make your body not like inflammatory, because that's all sunburn really is your body is inflamed, so the sun is reacting to that. So just eating foods that aren't going to cause inflammation in your body, reducing your sun damage by just I know like healthy fats are really good, coconut oils, avocado oils, things like that. And then wearing protective, obviously, clothing, wearing hats if you're not going to wear the sunscreen, and just making sure that you're doing you're getting out in the sun in a safe way, because the sun is really good for you, but then it's also can hurt you if you don't do it the right way. So
There's also with sunscreens, making sure if you can find one that's non-nanoparticles and reef safe. Depending if you travel a lot, I think certain countries you're not allowed to use certain sunscreens because of their reefs, because it can damage the coral and the sea life and stuff. I'm also
that's
not
another thing too. Going swimming is healing in the summertime as well. Like doing movement and exercise that's outside, like biking outside, swimming outside, yoga outside, but also taking that time to replenish and make sure you recover in a cool space after is always important as well, because the ocean water is just so healing. If you can just be by a body of water, like the healing properties from that is crazy.
I was just for the 4th of July, we went to my uncle's and he has a pool, saltwater pool. And I have not been in a pool in a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh my God, this is so relaxing. I didn't want to get out. I had to get out because Violet wanted to get out. But I was like, no, you want to stay in a little bit longer, just a little bit, but it is just so relaxing.
Yeah. So the only other thing I had before we get into our next section was, so again, back to that like rest and recovery, that it's hot out there. The summer, there's no secret that it gets hot, right? So taking that time off to rest and recover after and in between activities is really important, because if you're not decompressing and recovering, you're not healing. You're just constantly adding more distress to your body and to your whole system. So making sure you get plenty of rest and replenishing after you do activities, getting enough sleep, sleeping in cool areas so that your body is actually resting. And then now that the world is sort of opening back up again, people are getting back out there, make a plan also for your mental health, because especially in the summer, people are doing more things, a lot of people are off, there's more parties, there's all these things going on. Aside from having a pandemic, that alone can be anxiety inducing for people who struggle with mental health things. So aside from not being having social interaction for however long, and then adding on the fact that it's summer and more things are happening, knowing your boundaries of committing to activities and parties and things is really important, because if you're not sure how you're going to feel, don't stress yourself out with committing to things. Just let people know, hey, I'm saying yes right now, but I just want to let you know I might not feel up to it when the day comes. Saying some sort of boundary so that you're protecting your mental health and you're not stressing yourself out about, oh my God, I told them I have to, I told them I was going to go to this, gathering, and now I don't feel like I'm able to go. So really your mental health is very important. One, with the world opening back up, but also in the summertime when there's just more going on. So keeping those boundaries, keeping your mental health first, doing your self-care, is all really important. And so part of self-care is skincare for us. So Becky, if you want to transition into that section.
Yeah, so we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna do our face masks. We're gonna put them on. We're gonna be jumping back and forth from the screen because we can't do our face masks without a mirror. I need the bathroom to do that. But I have lots of products on my desk. I'm gonna first show you guys what I washed my face with. So when we're doing skincare, if you're gonna exfoliate with a face scrub or exfoliate with a face mask, you need to wash your face first. So I have 3 different cleansers depending on what my skin feels like. So I used the Young Living, the Bloom Brightening Cleanser. So this is what I used. I don't know how YouTube people do this. Where am I? So this is what I used, and it's a creamy cleanser, and it kind of, I have a thing. I know like suds, depending on the chemicals, are bad, but it's just like I'm like I need soap, like I need things to have like bubbles, like, or I don't feel like it's working.
Yeah.
Probably some sort of like thing from like all products when we didn't have natural products. And then in the winter, or if my skin feels really dry, so a big thing is oil cleansers. So even if you have oily skin, there's like that myth where, oh, you have oily skin, don't use oil. But oil grabs oil. So it's kind of like water and oil don't mix. So if you have oily skin and you're using more of a water-based cleanser, it might not work that well because there's nothing, the oil and water, it's just, they're like not, what's the word?
Each other.
Yeah, it's like Rain-X on your car. It repels the water, like it's like that. So this is also a Young Living cleanser. It's the Mira Luminous Cleansing Oil. So I use this. I'll even use this and leave it on and put one of my face masks on, depending how dry my skin feels, or I like the way it smells. So I'm like, oh, this is nice. And I like the way it feels. And it's an oil, but it's not like an olive oil. It's not like, these aren't heavy oils that you're putting on your skin. So it feels just hydrated and more moisturized. And then
I usually mix my oil cleanser with because my masks that I use come as a powder. So I'll mix my oil cleanser with the mask, depending on, what I need for that, for my skin.
And then what I use in the shower, just because it's like quick and easy, because I've tried to use the oil cleanser in the shower and then everything is yeah. So I use, again, another Young Living, the Orange Blossom cleanser, and this is for more normal to oily skin. I have combination skin, but I also tend to be more dry. But this is a good summer. Hold on, let's see, is there a reflection? All right, hopefully you guys get the point. I know, I'm just like all over the place. So that one I like to use this time of year just because you're sweating more. For my skin, sometimes it'll make it a little bit tight. I love and hate that feeling. I like it because I'm like, oh, my skin feels nice and tight. But then I'm like, oh, my skin is dry and dehydrated, So I'll use that. So I'll rotate between those.
I was going to say, it's always good to rotate your skincare too, because you don't want to keep using the same thing because the seasons change, your body's changing. So to use the same thing for years is not always what's best for your skin. So trying out different ones, don't be afraid to try an oil one or to try, a more exfoliating one, depending on, your skin and how it's reacting.
And before, we don't have a lot of time like to go through the entire process, but if I was doing this like myself, so I have my herbal facial steam. So you want to cleanse then you need to kind of open up your pores. So like when you go to the spa, when you go for a facial, they have the steam machine that they put on your face, or not like near your face, before they do any kind of mask. So that just kind of opens up your skin and your pores so that whatever they're using or whatever mask, you get the maximum benefits of that. So I have 3 different herbal facial steams. I know Kenzie has this one, right? You have the Calm.
I'm just gonna grab it, but you have it right there.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
calming
yeah.
facial steam.
Yeah, the Calm, and this has chamomile, so organic chamomile, organic hibiscus, organic orange peel, and jasmine. So that one's for calm, and then this
So
one's an
easy
old.
to use too. Like if you don't have a steamer, you just, like you
Yeah,
said, heat up, you boil the water, put it in a bowl and stick your head over a towel, and it's so easy. You stay under there for 20 minutes, make sure you're breathing, get it
yeah.
from there. But
Basically like the old school, like when your parents, like if you had a cold, they
yeah,
would like stick your head under a bowl of water, but this time it'll smell nice because it'll be herbs. And then this one, this is an older label. I'm in the process of updating the labels, but I have Glow facial steam. And this one is organic lavender, organic calendula, organic lemon peel, and organic rose.
that sounds like a nice one too.
Yes, and then this one, so it's funny, I had created this one before the pandemic, right? So these were, I think I don't know if I was pregnant when I created these. I don't remember, but when they were first born. So this one is Breathe facial steam. So this one, again, like when you're stuffed up, this is good for like if you have a cold or even people who have allergies, because the ingredients in this one is organic peppermint, organic eucalyptus, and organic orange peel. So this will really open up. And this is also good for, we have to wear masks now, or, it's good for people who are still in whatever their profession. I know for the most part in New York, the mask restrictions are being lifted a little bit, but for like doctor's office or medical professionals who have to wear the masks continuing, this could be a really nice gift for them.
Yeah, that's great.
Or for yourself if you have to wear a mask.
Mhm.
So we have now steamed our face. So now it's time for our face mask. So I have 3 different types of herbal powdered masks. And the purpose behind those is because I don't really want to use preservatives and chemicals, to preserve. So I don't have any water-based products, because if I had water-based products, I'd need to use preservatives. So I have 3 different herbal powdered face masks, and I typically will mix them with water. But to my customers who have these, I do send a sheet of other mixing mediums that they can use as well. So the first one I have is the kelp. This is a really nice, these ones I made when I was pregnant. So I knew I needed to, my nose was so sensitive. So this has kelp in it. So it's kind of like that beachy seaweed. It's not so like fishy, but it has that kind of like seaweed. I don't know. When I'm at the beach, like certain smells I love at the beach, certain smells I'm just like, bleh. So this one is like mild, but it has organic marshmallow root, organic kelp, organic spirulina, hopefully I said that right, and organic rose, and organic coconut milk powder. So it's all powder. So this one is good for like extremely dehydrated skin, more mature skin. I'm getting older, so this is kind of like, I need something when my skin just feels so dehydrated. So like winter time, or even if you're a sun worshiper, you need this. You need to add more moisture and hydration back into your skin. But
I said I probably need that.
yeah, and I
Yesterday.
say mature skin, but like I guess it's just so people understand, like, oh, because mature skin tends to be more dry because you're losing your moisture in your body.
Yeah, and mature skin doesn't just mean age, because your skin can mature faster. If you, like you said, if you're out in the sun more, your skin can be more mature than someone who's older than you who's never out in the sun. So it's not necessarily an age thing, but just
Yeah.
the way your skin ages.
And then I have an acne face mask. So this is more for combination skin. So these, well, actually, yeah, one of these, the last one was inspired by you. So the one, because I remember I had reached out to a couple of friends and I asked, hey, what's your skin like? What are your skin problems? Like, tell me about your skin. I'm creating these masks and I need to know what your problems are. So and they told me, and based on their problems is how I formulated the masks. So this one has, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, Rasol clay. I don't know. It's like that RH clay. I don't know how to say it.
I don't know
Um,
either.
yeah, but it's a really nice clay. Oat straw, organic oat straw, kaolin clay, organic lavender, and organic hibiscus. Um, with hibiscus though, sometimes it's intercropped with peanuts. So if you have a peanut allergy, I have on indigorosebeauty.com tons of descriptions for each of these masks. So if you have any kind of food allergies or any kind of allergies, just read my disclaimers, then check with your doctor just to make sure if you have any kind of, internal allergies or skin allergies. That's just my disclaimer with all my stuff and all my products. But this one is really good for combination skin. So even this is like an all year round. And it's good because my skin, when we switch from going from whatever, like spring to summer, summer to fall, fall to winter, and then winter to spring, my skin freaks out. So I'll tend to break out with when the weather is all over the place. My skin is like, what is going on? So this is good for that as well. And then today's mask that I'm going to be using, which was inspired by Kenzie, is the dry skin face mask.
I think you gave me the sample of that.
Yeah, so when I formulated them, I had my product testers and Kenzie was one of them. And I said, okay, try this mask. So this one has organic coconut milk, kaolin clay, organic oat straw, organic lavender, and organic rose. And kaolin clay, I know when we talk about bentonite clay, if you guys are familiar with that type of clay, I use that to detox my armpits because it's a strong, so if you have super, super oily skin, that's a great clay to use as a face mask. I was actually using that because when that became like a thing, I was like, oh, let me try this because I like trying all different kinds of products. And I was mixing that. It gets activated with apple cider vinegar. I love the feeling because it detoxes and it circulates the blood. So when I put it, which I'm glad I Googled that, kind of see like what this is about, because as it starts to dry, your skin starts pulsating. So my face would be like kind of twitching out. And if I didn't know that that was supposed to happen, I probably would have freaked out thinking I was having like an allergic reaction or something.
Right.
But I use that for, so if you're switching from like regular grocery store deodorant to a more natural deodorant, it's a way to help kind of detox that stink that you get, which I want to talk to you about in your Kenzie Men's. You talked about this like deodorant. I have like a million questions about that. Yeah,
because this little guy is crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. I have to do a little more research to make sure that all of the ingredients are fully non-toxic. Like when I first read about it, I was like okay with everything that was in it, but I just want to double check because there's one thing in here that I'm not really sure how to pronounce. Steroloquinum bentonite that I'm just like, I don't really know. I want to double check on that, but this is called Nuud, N-U-U-D, and it's an anti-odorant. So it you put it on and like it's not a deodorant, so you're not masking a smell, you're pulling out like the tox. It's basically like a detox, but you use it as like a deodorant, and you
I
only
wonder if
have to use it like every 3 days.
I wonder if that's bentonite clay
Yeah,
or
I
some
don't know.
sort
I
of,
need to do some more research on
yeah,
it because
it might be a clay or a mineral. Don't
mhm,
quote me on that. Just like
yeah,
listening to the words. Um,
right. But there's castor oil in it and stuff like that. So I'll have to do a little more research before I like keep promoting it. But I definitely it's helped me so much do that, like you said, like that detox from regular store bought deodorants to more natural deodorants. So
yeah.
that's
So
definitely
then, all right. So I guess we're gonna go
into our
mask
mask.
our faces, and then we'll talk about after we wash the mask off, your next steps of
Yeah.
skincare of what,
Will
'cause we're
be
not done after the mask. There's a whole
yeah.
process.
I'm gonna be using a chlorophyll mask today. I
Okay.
did not stock up on my indigo rose beauty.
And then, oh yeah, so for my mask, so I use glass. So I want to like, so I did like 2 scoops.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna take this and just do water and then mix it so that it's more like a paste mask, like not too watery, not too thick, just right, like Goldilocks.
Yeah. And I'm using my rose water as well to mix with my mask today.
Oh, that's nice.
So we'll see you soon.
All right, BRB. And we're back with our lovely face masks. So we have about 20 minutes to chat with you guys. That might be a little bit shorter depending how tight our faces start to get
My
once
starting
they
here
start to
already.
dry. But in between that, I forgot to mention this isn't labeled yet because I made a new batch. I do herbal bath salts as well. So this is a great time of year to take baths. It's kind of like, oh, it's hot out. Why would I want to take a hot bath? But I take more baths in the warmer weather than when it's cold. Because for me, I'm like, I'm not going in the tub when I'm freezing. Like, and I think because it's just warmer out. But this is it's not labeled, but it's my mermaid um, bath salt. So this has it has like vanilla and eucalyptus, and there's some jasmine flowers and some organic dried calendula flowers in here as well. And it's to me, it was like the scent. I don't live close to the beach, and I wanted to bring the beach into
Mhm.
my house. So this was one of those.
So what are the benefits of like a salt bath?
So salt. So this is Dead Sea salt. So Dead Sea salt is good. It can soften the skin. It's
Mm.
also good for like dry skin. It has like a little bit of detoxing properties because it's salt. Salt will draw out impurities from the skin. And it's also very relaxing.
Yeah, I've only ever heard of like Epsom salt baths, not like
Yes, Epsom salt I think I don't use Epsom salt currently. I think that has more magnesium in it, if
okay.
I'm not mistaken. Magnesium is a muscle relaxer, so
Yeah.
magnesium is good if you have restless leg syndrome, if you get leg cramps, if you're an athlete, if you're a runner, um, if you do like exercise, when you do like an intense workout, an
Yeah.
Epsom salt bath post workout
Yeah.
really helps to kind of
Soothe your muscles kind of.
yeah, magnesium is good for the muscles. So what am I trying to say? Because I take magnesium, but the Epsom salt, the magnesium will get absorbed into your skin. So
Mhm.
it's like if you can't take the supplement, or it's just another way of getting extra magnesium. So I
Mhm.
think for a lot of people are deficient in a lot of different vitamins, like, and probably from all this acidic water that we're drinking.
Yeah.
No idea. Um, but and acidic, so acid can breed the bad bacteria, can
Mhm.
breed dis-ease or disease
Mhm.
in the body. So if you have if your insides are highly acidic, it's a breeding ground for like kind of bad stuff. So if you're not feeling well, um, that's one area to check,
Mhm.
do you have too much acid in the body? So yeah, and then I also use Himalayan salt.
Mm.
It's just pretty. I'm not sure, like it's salt, so I'm sure it does like the same kind of stuff. I like Himalayan salt because it's really pretty and it's naturally colored, so I don't have to use
Yeah.
kind of uh, colorants and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's just salt baths are really relaxing.
Mhm.
Um, even another like little tip. So my facial steams, the herbs, you can because they're loose herbs, so you can brew if you have the like a coffee press
Mm.
or the reusable tea bags. You can like scoop a tablespoon of that, make some tea. If you don't want a ton of those herbs like in your tub because it's gonna make a mess, you can just use the water. You can let
Oh,
it cool.
okay.
Don't put like boiling. I mean, I guess you could because it's in the tub, but don't like jump into scalding hot water
Yeah.
in the tub. And that's another where it's not so like messy in the
Yeah.
tub.
That's a
Um,
good idea. I didn't think about that because I'm always like picking out all the flowers at the end of the bath.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, or we have I have this mesh because my hair sheds so much. I took the drain out.
Mhm.
I have a mesh drain that just catches everything. So
Mhm.
you can get one of those too.
Yeah.
I get like Lowe's or Home Depot, and
Mhm.
that's easy too. Um, and then let's see.
My face is getting really tight already.
It's getting cold. It's getting cold, so I know it's like on its way to drying. Mine towards the end, like we're how many? Yeah, we have 13 minutes left. So towards like once we're like at 5,
Mhm.
I'll start to get really tight. So I
Yeah.
have a couple more notes then, since your face is getting tight.
Okay. Well, it's funny because this time I used the rose water to mix it, but when I use the oil, it doesn't get this tight this fast because the oil takes
Because of
longer
the
to
water.
absorb. So I'm like, oh my God, I haven't done it with water in a while. So I'm just like, I can't move my face.
I love that feeling though, because I'm like, yes, it's working.
But
So
good.
another great, I guess, food, because it is food. So fresh aloe
Mm.
you can use for, and I know I've talked about this in other videos. You can use it's great for sunburns, and it's very cooling to the skin. But fresh aloe, so you would just, and I can get it at my grocery store. They sell them like the stalks and it's organic. So it's organic, just fresh aloe stalk. If you have a plant, like that's even better because you can just that plant I think regenerates
Yeah. There's,
quicker than a lot of plants.
yeah.
The salon when I worked down in Jersey in the salon, we used to have an aloe plant. And I would always kind of like, we would just like clip some and just like kind of like squeeze some, or like when we do waxing, it's good for
Mhm.
that. Um, So you would just cut all the green parts off, but just be careful because it's really slippery. And then you can use a food processor to puree it and then use that as a face mask.
Mm.
And that's just like a nice cooling summer. If you
Yeah.
have sunburn, or I've used when I did before the pandemic, I would teach like these little beauty schools at my house,
Mhm.
and I made sure I had, because I didn't know who was coming, um, and like what their skin was, so I tried to make sure I had everything for any type of skin type. And one of them, it was just fresh aloe. So I'm like, okay, the most sensitive skin in the world, as long as they're not allergic to aloe,
It
can
can
use this. Um, and that's just, and that will get really tight. So like aloe,
Mhm.
it'll get really tight, but
It's
it's really,
like a gel almost, right? It turns.
mhm, yeah. So it's like, how do I explain it? Yeah, it's like a gel. Yeah, it feels like gel, and then it dries, so it's cooling, and then as it's drying, it gets tight. But then when you wash it off, your skin is really soft
Yeah.
afterwards, and it just feels
Nice
like
smooth.
so. Ah. Um,
And make sure you're not buying the aloe with all the chemicals in it in the bottle.
Not the blue one or the green one.
Yeah, get real.
Yeah. Although I will use, because if you're going on vacation, you're not going to be carrying like
Aloe
stalks
leaves.
of aloe. So the clear one is
Yeah.
okay. It's clear.
Mm.
Um, and then on the spiritual side, my face is starting to get a little tight now.
I know I'm like laughing and I
Oh,
can't.
like it's him, and I know I'm like, no laughing. On the spiritual side of things, we're in summer. So we're doing this video after the summer solstice. So I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit. Violet's cracking me up. I can hear her giggling. So this is the season, like Kenzie mentioned before, we're going outside. So this is a time of growth, right? So we did all that inner work and going within in the colder seasons. So now we were a caterpillar and now it's butterfly season. Time to turn into that butterfly. So it's a time of growth. Honor the light that's within you. You can use the sun's energy to get your own energy back. I find I have more energy. I'm always tired, but I find that when the weather is nice, when it's sunny out, I have more energy. I want to be outside more. I just want to like live outside. So that's kind of like using the sun's energy spiritually to get your own energy back, find your purpose and your direction. And the summer solstice was in June, I think the 20th. And you can do, if you did any summer solstice rituals, it's a great time to set intentions, express gratitude, and take baths. Also, so speaking of Dead Sea salt and salt baths, energetically, it's also cleansing to the empaths. It's nice to just kind of like wash away all the energy that you absorb. You're kind of like releasing that like out. So energetically, it's good for cleansing like negative energy like from yourself as well.
Yeah. And also, like you said, just being near water is such a healing energy, whether it's a bath or an ocean, a pond, like whatever it is. Like it's interesting because I don't want to call it like a vision, but like I had this like it felt like I don't know what you want to call it, but I was getting acupuncture and
Mm.
I had this I'll call it a vision. I don't know what it was, but I pictured myself like floating in the ocean, and like whatever I needed to release was like a layer that shed off of me and like left and went into the ocean, and I was still just like floating like on the water. So it's like water is like a common theme that pops up in like a lot of healing and spiritual work too. And it can be, people say water is very unforgiving because it kind of builds its own path wherever it needs to go, but you can use that energy for good. It doesn't have to be a destructive path. So I just found that interesting that that's like what popped into my head during acupuncture.
And water is tied to emotions.
Yeah.
So you can also say, so with and even now, where should you focus your energy and attention? I had a tarot reading recently,
Mm.
and this is probably the most accurate reading I have, and it was over the phone. This is one of the groups that I'm part of. It's like a business group, and the lady said she wanted to get back into tarot readings and she wanted to practice. And I was like, and normally I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, and again, that's an intuitive energy thing. Of course, I checked out her profile first just to be like, okay, let me make sure this is like a good energy person. She also coincidentally happened to be from New Jersey, so I was like, it was meant to be. And it was probably one of the most accurate, and this was over the phone. And because I took notes while I don't know when it comes to tarot cards, like I don't know like what they mean, and like so all like the different pictures and the words, so that's why I took notes. But when she pulled whatever pattern she was using. I forget what it was called. My hopes and fears is what, so like the, whatever the steps are, I guess, like
Yeah.
the past, the present,
Mhm.
future, and like all this stuff. So hopes and fears, the card that was pulled was the Three of Cups,
Mm.
and it said water. So the Three of Cups, water. And then she said, I like the way she read though, because she reminded me of me, like when I get receive messages and it doesn't make sense and I'm just like, right, but
Mhm.
like I know what she meant.
Yeah.
So it's Three of Cups, and she said water. Water is tied to emotions.
Mhm.
And she said three women raising cups up, three generations celebrating. Um, so like the mother, the maiden, and the
Yeah.
crone. And I just started like bawling. Because I haven't seen my grandma a lot, like
Yeah.
since the pandemic, and we weren't sure if she was going to come. And then I found that day, that morning or afternoon, because the reading was at night, my mom and my uncle called me to tell me my grandma was coming.
Oh.
So then so now I'm like, this lady's legit, like
Yeah.
this, like, and I told her that after, because whenever I get readings, the Gemini me that's like chatty, I'm just like,
Mhm.
like, because I
That
don't
read with
anyone who's good at reading body language or putting, if I give information, well, someone who's really good at like reading body language and just like a smooth talker, I guess you can say, will just tell me what I want to hear. And so
yeah.
I was just like really quiet. And she even said like that's the best way to get a reading, is to just be
You
quiet.
don't offer up any information that they don't come that doesn't come to them, you know.
Until afterwards, yeah. After the reading, then I was like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I was just like, and this, and this, and this. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it was a really good reading. And it was funny because she talked a lot about judgment, like
Mm.
how I feel judged, and
Mm.
to kind of like let that.
We just talked about that too.
Yeah. Well, what was the last video we did?
It
Was
was when I forgot what being unlovable, that one. It was you felt judged as being a mom.
Yes. And so, okay, so that video came out, or we recorded that, pre-recorded that, and then I had this reading and she was talking about that. And I
That's
think I had the reading the same day the video posted.
mhm.
And so I sent it to her. I was like, oh my God, we just did a video on this. And this is like, it was so crazy how
Aligned.
synced up and aligned. And so it was like legit.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it wasn't just because I've had readings before
Yeah.
and they tell me things and I'm like,
Yeah.
no. Um,
It's also Cancer season too, which is a water sign. So it's a lot of emotions that are going to come up in the next couple months until I think what's next, Leo season, which is not water anymore.
fire. Leo's
Yeah.
fire.
So this is the next few months up until August is going to be like very emotional and like it's going to force you to kind of sit with your emotion rather than like run away from it.
Yeah. And then she said, one of the things that she said, which this may help other people too, because when she said it, I was like, oh. So she said, don't pay attention to feeling judged. And she said, don't let creepy thoughts in your head. And she said, if creepy, and like, so I like that she used the word creepy. I don't know, because I'm like, because I know what she meant. And she said, if they come, just say, no, not today.
Mm.
Like, I liked
Needed
that.
that for my dream last night. I had a creepy dream.
Yeah. So I
Couldn't.
don't have, and it's funny because I don't have, most times I remember my dreams, but they're not really dreams, they're nightmares.
Yeah.
Because
None of mine are
past
good
stuff,
dreams. Yeah.
like I'm reliving like past
Yeah.
things or like bad people that like I'm no longer around are in my dreams.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
Lately I've been dreaming so much. Like I guess because I haven't, so it's interesting because once I started really releasing a lot of like things related to like my trauma and things like that and really healing those parts, I started dreaming like crazy. And like you said, like not good dreams, like they're all like
Like nightmares.
nightmares. And I started dream journaling, but last nights were just like so intense that I didn't even want to write them down to like remember them. And I was just like, why am I having these like disturbing, destructive dreams when like I don't think of that on a daily basis, but when I'm dreaming, that's where my brain goes. And it was just like so interesting to like now that I've released like these emotional parts of me, now I'm dreaming even more. It's I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It's like it's a lot. But I like what you said is like what was the quote?
No,
Not
no,
no
it's
not
today.
today.
No,
Yeah,
not today.
because that whatever dream I had the other night, I was just like, why am I dreaming of this? But instead of trying to figure out why, just say, nope, I'm not I'm not doing this today.
Yeah, and
So I like that one.
she also talked, and this can also help other people too. So when we talk about like doors, our timer did go off, so I'll try to like
No,
not
that's
talk
okay.
forever. um, so when we talk about like opportunities knocking or like this is
Mhm.
your door, this is not your door. So she said, a stuck door is not your door. When it's too much of a chore or you're chasing your tail,
Mm.
it's not your door. And she said, everything will come together if you let it be. And I like tend to, I can be a control freak within myself,
Yeah.
or I need to be in control like of my body,
Mhm.
of like, I guess my aura, or just
Yeah.
like I'd never control another person, but I like to like control my own things.
Yeah, yeah,
That makes sense. Like I'm very like, no, I need to be in control
yeah.
of every aspect of my life,
Yeah.
and I can't let go.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that too.
Yeah, and she did say, which I thought was funny, no matter what's going on in my environment, I have all my bases covered.
Mm.
And I'm like, it's because I'm a doomsday prepper, or like, that survival
Yeah.
mentality, or like survivor mentality. Um, or like sometimes I'll have like one foot out the door. Like I have like I'm planted, but also like fight, flight, or freeze kind of a thing. Um, and then she said, I'm starting to feel more calm, more grounded, and more serene. And I'm like, yeah, like, because
Mhm.
like with the pandemic, like things are
Yeah.
calming. Like for a while, it was like so tense.
Mm.
And then the last thing, so she said, I'm strong, steady, and planted.
I
And
like
I
that.
was like, I like
That's
that.
a good affirmation.
And she said, keep an eye out for opportunities and don't cling too tightly to things. Letting go is not being careless. Um,
It's like giving trust to whatever you believe
yeah,
in.
and she
Yeah.
said, my environment is moving into being more successful and more serene because it's my territory, my turf.
Mm-hmm.
Just to let everything come together and to become more conscious of myself and not worry what others say or do. So like go because she's like that judgment thing keeps like popping back up again, like because it's like such a heavy
Yeah.
weight on me, that and it can just even be little things like
Yeah.
this little tiny thing like, oh, why or Violet's like hairs in her eyes, or like you need to cut her hair. And I'm like, just like
Yeah.
little kind of like jabs. And it's like, did I ask you?
Yeah.
Like what she needs? Like, does my child not look perfectly happy and content? Like, do you not see the photos of her where she's smiling and giggling? I mean, you're hurt. She hears me laughing and she starts giggling. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I
Like
have to
focus on the
remember
things
that.
that
Like I
make.
have to return back to myself and just remember that.
Oh, an affirmation that I've been trying to say pretty much for everything is that like and this kind of has to do with like the letting go and letting it be is it will come to me in a perfect way in divine timing. So
Like,
it's so again it's like kind of back to our like manifestation talk. You're not negatively manifesting. It's going to come in the way it's supposed to, in a perfect way, and when it's supposed to, in divine timing. So
yeah.
with that, I think it's our divine timing to take these naps.
And we'll be right back, folks.
And we're back.
Fresh face. Okay, last steps. Kenzie and I like to tone our face with rose water. Rose water is very cooling and it has astringent properties. So like witch hazel is astringent. It will help toning after your mask, will help to close your pores, right? So when we steamed our face, we opened our pores to let that mask do its work. Now we don't want to walk around with open pores, letting all the junk and crap from the environment into our face.
Right,
So
you want to create like this barrier.
So after we masked, so like if you didn't do a mask, it would be cleanse tone. So right now we did cleanse, mask, tone. And this is
my rose water toner from Coco Kind. They also have just an organic rose water, but you can find it pretty much anywhere.
I'm using a rose hydrosol, so I don't know. It says it's food grade, so I'm like,
I think it's
put it on my face. Hopefully I don't get it in my eyes.
I also use these reusable bamboo cotton rounds, or you can just spray it on your face as well. But if you're going to use, you know, a million cotton balls or the cotton rounds, it's better to find, you know, a sustainable option. So I'm just going to spray some on.
And I'm heavy-handed when it comes to toner and moisturizer because I need to look like I've just stepped out of like the beach, like the ocean where I'm like dripping wet.
So it's funny, I usually do both. I'll do like the cotton round to get any like dirt or extra makeup or any of the extra mask off, and then I'll also spritz as well. So I do both.
And I'm just gonna use my fingers right now because I don't have reusable cotton.
Okay.
And I forgot to grab them.
Next is moisturizing, right? Or what's that?
This, it's not labeled. It will be a new Indigo Rose Beauty product. I've gotten a lot of requests over the years for this. So this took a couple years to research and formulate and figure out what my formula was going to be. So it's in the testing phase right now. I have my testers testing this out. But this is an under eye serum. So I'm going to see if I can give you a little bit of a hint. There's cucumber oil in it. There's blue tansy. It's not, because it's so close to the eye, I put a very, very less than 1% amount of essential oil in this because I am sensitive to scents. A lot of eye creams actually make my eyes red and I'll start to sneeze or my nose will start to like run. I think just because and then like sometimes my eyes would get swollen. So I'm like, I need to make my own thing so I can control what I put in it and see if it'll help. Because I have super sensitive skin, so but I also have my testers. I don't just like make something and I'm like, oh, it works for me, so it'll work for everyone. I have specific, and I rotate my people depending on the product. But this, let's see. Actually, I'm gonna have to use my phone as a mirror, I think.
So while you're putting that one on, I'm actually going to put on some vitamin C serum, which is really good in between your moisturizer and your toner. And it's, again, just more protection against like environmental stress. It boosts your hydration levels in your skin because your facial skin usually takes a lot more distress from the sun and from being outside, especially like if you live in the city, just like polluted air and stuff like that. So vitamin C is just like another layer of protection for your skin if you're going to use before your moisturizer. And it's just like a little serum that I have. This one is made with sea grape caviar. So this is a really cool one. So I'm just going to put some of that on before my moisturizer. I don't have an eye serum yet. I'm waiting for Indigo to come out with theirs. So
Yeah, so this actually smells like cute, like not the nauseating cucumber melon that we all used to wear back in the 90s. You were probably like a baby.
Remember, I had so many Bath and Body Works
Oh,
cucumber melon scents.
so it's like a lighter, and it does actually feel cooling because cucumbers,
Mm,
but it has, yeah, I know it has rose hips,
mm.
watermelon seed, oil, and a cup. There's a bunch of stuff in this, but it's very, I mean, you guys can see, like, it's an oil,
Yeah, it's
but
so
just for whatever magical reason, it absorbs. And the under eye area tends to be super dry.
I was gonna say.
I'm not claiming this is going to cure your under eye circles and, your like medical under eye problems,
Yeah.
but it's more so for dryness. Like our under eyes are dry because there's the thinnest skin.
I
And
say
you
it's so
guys see I'm
sensitive.
using my ring fingers because it's the least amount of pressure. And you always up,
Yeah. If
always
you
go
pull,
up.
yeah, if you pull down, gravity's already pulling your skin down. That's how you
Here,
get
up,
goals. Yeah.
always up,
Oh,
up, up, away, like away. And the only part you'll go down on is your nose because
yeah.
that's gravity.
Yeah. Now, I'm actually going to use from Indigo Rose Beauty my
Ooh.
Jade Roller. This is the Rose Quartz, actually. This isn't Jade. This is, I think, Rose Quartz
Yep,
one.
the rose
Yep.
quartz. Mine's upstairs. I
And you
forgot.
always want to go up as well.
Yeah, and I've seen videos of people are like doing this with it. Don't do that.
Yeah. Go
Don't.
in one direction.
You're not a vacuum. Like you're not vacuuming your face. Like when I see that, it looks like people are vacuuming their faces.
Mm-hmm.
Up, always up. Even like with that, up,
Your neck. Yeah.
up. I like doing this.
Mhm.
And so my moisturizer, I'm gonna use it's daytime, but I'm gonna cheat and use Indigo Rose Beauty's PM serum
I love that one.
just because that's like my newest serum. And then I also have this is like my OG,
Let me
OG
the
face
one.
serum. That's
That's
the
it.
one. Yep, I call it the OG face serum because this little face
So
serum,
hydrating.
this little face serum is what started Indigo Rose Beauty. This is what started my business
Yeah.
because I created a face serum for myself. And then I was like, this kind of works really good. Let me like share it with like some friends who are picky. And I always shake my stuff. I don't know. It's like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I am gonna put 2 pumps. I always say I think I have the directions to put like 1 pump just because I figure you could always put more. I load my face up
Mm-hmm.
with this.
It absorbs pretty quick. Like it takes a little,
PM,
but it does absorb pretty well.
the PM one, and I'm just gonna, because I can do this, like, and always do your neck.
Yeah, don't forget about your neck.
Yeah. And
I was trying to clean up mine. It got like, I hate when it gets all over the sides. Like the
I know. The PM serum was a little bit more, I don't want to say greasy, but it takes a little bit more time to absorb. Like the OG face serum absorbs right away,
yeah.
very quickly. Because this is a nighttime one,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be a little bit more,
More hydrating and stuff.
yeah.
I'm just gonna put a couple of drops.
And I'm kind of rough with my face. Like, I kind of just like,
I just kind of like to like pitter patter it around because it doesn't spread. I'm using a chia facial oil. So this
are
is,
little chia seeds in it?
so they extract,
Extract it?
so they extract the, I think it's like omega-3s or whatever
Oh,
from
yeah.
the chia, and then it just comes in like a little oil. But I ran out of my Indigo Rose Beauty serum, so this is gonna
No,
have
I didn't plan this
work out.
properly. I'm like, hey, you want to do like face masks on a party? And it was like, yeah.
It's like I have like a little skincare mini fridge.
I know.
Keep stuff in there. So right next to my laptop right now. So it was easy to just grab whatever we needed. But there you have it, summer skincare. And yes, you need to moisturize in the summer too. Even if you think you're going to be hot and oily and sticky, you still have to moisturize
And I'm
in
like,
the
oh,
summer.
that's on my
I
hands.
was just doing the same thing.
It's like, but the back, my skin is so dry. Yeah, I think yes, you still need to moisturize. Is that what you just said? I was like, your skin and your hair. I know the sun, the pool, the beach, can fry your hair, and there may or may not be another product in the future that I may share.
Very nice.
That is also in the works. Hint, hint.
Very exciting.
And for all the products, the Indigo Rose Beauty products that I mentioned, if you go to indigorosebeauty.com, they're all listed. Bath salts are out of stock. They're being reworked. But if you have any questions, you're not sure what product goes with your skin type, you can always send me a message at Indigo Rose Beauty on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to get in contact, or through Party or wherever. I'm here. It's easy to find me.
Yeah, definitely reach out, because Becky is like an expert at like all the herbs and what is good for your skin and what you need for your specific type. So she's also a licensed cosmetologist as well. So definitely reach out with your questions to her about that.
I'm like, can we do face masks every video? Because I have not, with Violet, like I have not done a face mask in like.
Me either. I don't have a baby, but I haven't done it.
Oh, I love how I'm like, exfoliate your face 1 to 2 times a week, and I'm like, or once a month, or when you remember,
whenever you can.
Because and I'm like, because my skin, my cheeks, I know that they're red because they're dehydrated and it's dry.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I think it's the lighting. I look like so.
The lighting is bad, but yeah, I have like some red patches on the sides, and those are like my most inflamed areas where you need more hydration and stuff like that. And then beauty from the inside out too. Think about all those, tips that we gave you before about the wellness, about what foods you're eating, the juices you're drinking, and things like that. Because if you're not healing your body from the inside, you could put anything you want on your face and it's not going to make it any better if you're not healthy from the inside out. So I hope these wellness tips have helped you guys for the rest of your summer. Did you have any other tips or tricks that you wanted to get out?
We talked about vitamin D, so I had to hear really quick because I don't remember if you said it or I said it. Soak up as much vitamin D. I'm deficient, and Violet's actually low in vitamin D. I just found out recently. So both of us take vitamin D supplements. Vitamin D takes a while. If you have low vitamin D, it takes a while to build back up in the body. And that can be linked to depression, stomach issues, skin issues, mood issues, because vitamin D makes you feel good. And when you feel good, your whole mind, body, soul feels good. Like Kenzie mentioned, avoid sunburn. I'm not a fan of sunscreen. Being a cosmetologist, I should tell you wear your sunscreen, but I've used coconut oil at the beach, but this wasn't like an all day. This was just towards the end of the day where I was like, oh, let me just put some coconut oil, because I will, if I'm at the beach, the pool, although this time at the pool I didn't because we weren't like really there. If you're outside at the pool or at the beach all day, the water is going to reflect the sun, so it's going to be stronger. You're going to sunburn quickly.
Even on a cloudy day, the sun is still strong in the summer.
A cloudy day at the pool or at the beach is worse than like the blazing sun there, because I've gotten really bad sunburns.
Yeah, me too.
Obviously, but protective clothing, hats, You can go out early, before noon, or later on after 5 p.m. And if you have low vitamin D, some people can't absorb. I just found this out talking with Violet's pediatrician. Some people don't absorb vitamin D as well as others. So vitamin K, I'm not sure if it's just vitamin K or vitamin K2, can help the absorption of vitamin D.
Interesting.
And that's something that I just recently learned as well.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Good to know.
Yeah.
I want to go check my vitamin D levels and get some blood work done.
Yeah,
And see if
that's
I'm
the
deficient.
vitamin D. I'm like, check your thyroid, check your vitamin D,
Yeah.
your iron, like
Yeah.
those.
I'm in a
three-
process of trying to find a naturopath to make sure I can, like, once I get all my levels, that they can tell me what I need rather than,
If you're familiar with Chinese medicine, they'll be able to read it
yeah.
what non-traditional, like even if it says in normal range, there's another way to
Yeah,
read
let's go by. Yeah. Okay, cool.
that's a little bit more accurate.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in for our summer wellness and beauty session. Don't forget, the most important thing is hydration. I think we can all agree. So inside and out, on your skin, inside your body, make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure you're resting and recovering in this heat. It is much needed. And we will see you back here soon for another topic. Bye, guys.